What's going on, everybody? Today is Monwan Monday, December 2nd, 2024. Hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving last week. Hope everybody's excited for Christmas this month. And
Well,
let's.
wait. More importantly, what is today?
Oh, Kyle, tell everybody what it is today. National holiday.
Today is a very important day. Today, we honor the birth of the living legend, the iconic Miss Brittany Jean Spears.
Oh,
It was a glorious day of just being off from work, relaxation, and reflection. Watching old Britney Spears performances and being filled with the nostalgia that is just good pop music.
oh.
The world has taken so much from her, and we owe her so much. So thank you, Britney Spears, for making me feel like I have a place in this world.
Thank you, Brittany. Wow, that was beautiful. That was really beautiful. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Welcome. You're welcome.
All right. My name, of course, is John Dunphy Wright, standing the beautiful Sierra. God, I started standing her after she got voted out
You
because
sure
she
did.
looks so good every single time they go to tribal council and she comes in for the jury. My
Which
goodness.
is also not a valid endorsement. I mean, it's an endorsement if you want it to be. I can't invalidate what you're doing here. But I mean, you didn't even care about her as much when she was on the actual show. It's like,
What?
what are we doing?
I'm actually curious because I picked her, I drafted her.
Third.
She was.
Yeah, third.
Ooh.
No, fourth.
Fourth.
Damn.
Woof.
Wow.
Ooh.
She was my last
All right.
pick.
We're at the bottom here, I guess.
I do want to take this opportunity though to point out
Uh-oh.
and applaud the fact that we've gone back to the jury entering after the
Yeah.
players, which is really
Yes,
nice because
yes.
now we get that moment where we get to see the jury strut in a little bit, and I like that part.
Absolutely.
So I'm glad
I
we're
love
back to
that
that
part.
situation.
Couldn't agree more.
Good job.
Re-skeet.
Yes. I'm joined, as always, by my fellow tribemates, Mr. Kyle Petty-Basal, Miss Gina Morgino, and Mr. Mikey Marmon. What's up? You guys... We are here tonight to talk about the 11th episode of Survivor 47, which was called Flipping the Win Switch. And in this one, we did lose Kyle. Sorry, Kyle. But honestly, there was a chance that it looked like it could go a different way at one point. So let's talk about how we all got there. You know, it's funny, by the way. Because we went to the to tribal council in this episode, and Jeff brought up the fact that, like, oh, what was it like at camp? Knowing that nobody has their shot in the dark anymore. And I was like, oh, right. Like the fact that I didn't even remember that
He's
that happened.
trying so hard
Yeah.
to make it a thing. It's not a thing.
Right. I'm like, the fact that I forgot that even happened just shows that the shot in the dark is so stupid.
It's right. It's like we're
going
literally
back to playing
playing the game
Survivor.
that we loved. Yep.
Mhm.
There you go.
Survivor Pre-41, man. It's normal. It's normal.
You know, John and I were talking about this last week. It's like the ease with which they gave it up should be like, hi, no one cares about this. Like,
No one
Jeff,
cares.
enough. Stop trying to be like, oh, well, you know, it's really important. No one cares. Nobody cares.
No. The majority of the people that fell in love with this show fell in love with the game well before there was a shot in the dark. So, like, this giving it up just means
love
I'm
it in
playing the
spite
game I
of
always
shot in
thought
the
I was
dark.
going to play.
Yeah.
I just stop shoving it down our throats. We don't like the shot in the dark, all right? But so, all right, last episode we lost Gabe, and Sue was the only person left out of the vote here. A little bit of a risk for Caroline, right? I do want to ask you guys a question, though, about Gabe, because Sue was pissed about this. Obviously, being left out, she was annoyed, too. But just the fact that Gabe was eliminated to begin with. And I wonder what you guys think about what Sue is going to feel when she goes home and sees how Gabe was, like, referring to her as just her and Caroline, just, like, these useful tools that were, like, just a part of his game, and they didn't really have their own game. And I'm like, you spent so much time, Sue, being so upset about this game vote, and he doesn't even really care about you.
Not at all.
Can I say something?
Sure.
I
Always.
don't like Sue, man. I don't like her.
Ooh.
I'm about her. I don't like the way that her lips don't get dirty, but the rest of her face does. I don't like her attitude. I don't like the way she talks about Kyle. I don't like her. I'm not a fan. So you know what? I'm glad she was left out, and I'm glad
Wow.
that she was upset about it. And that's how I feel.
Wow.
Wow.
Damn.
Like
I will say I'm not liking Sue as much as I thought I would.
Yep.
I definitely am not as perturbed as Mikey. But um to your question though, honestly, the biggest commentary I think I have is that it's just more of an argument for why we need to bring back the post reunion and like results thing.
Mhm.
I would love for people to watch some of this and then come back and then have that conversation. Um, like this sucks because we'll never really get to know what Sue thinks about
I
that.
feel like there's no point of the reunion the way it is now. Like, you're not gonna get any new context to anything. We've seen it all
No,
happen.
no,
Yeah.
that's supposed to be like the point of it because it's not even just any finale in general. Like that's even why we look forward to it in Big Brother. It's like, ooh, I can't wait for these people who went home pre-jury
Yeah.
watching and like have these comments when they come back, and like we're Survivor had that built in a way,
mm,
and in a larger scale because like it's the people that got to the end that got to see everything.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a real miss.
Yeah.
yeah. I've said it
Yeah.
before and I'll say it again. I think
Yeah.
to me, it's crazy. I don't like it.
I can't say I've
Uh,
ever noticed.
You'll notice now she looks like a clown. It's crazy.
Well, I will say that she when her face is super dirty, like and it's actually not just her lips. Her lips are the biggest offender on her face, but there's weird patches on her, like around her eyes too, that don't seem to collect dirt. It's just like the cheeks, it's like wherever there's something filled in, I never gave it this much thought. But now that Mikey says it, like
It
the
bothers.
rewatch her. There are certain scenes in
It
this
drives me
episode where like there's like
crazy.
certain dirt and stuff that's around that doesn't quite
It's
congeal.
wild. She looks
Yeah,
like an alien. I forgot what I was
yeah,
saying
she looks
now. It doesn't
she
matter. It
looks
wasn't
strange.
as
She
important.
does. She
Oh,
looks strange.
yeah, no. It's just like, and again, because they don't know necessarily what the exact conversation that we're having about these people is going to be until it's airing. So when they
Yep.
do those live finales, they're able to like sort of tailor it to what were those viral moments, what were the moments, who were the people that people were surprised about wanting to hear more from, like who do we
Mhm.
Or
not
like
really
ask
want to hear
questions
more
that we
from.
want to see the answer to.
So I think
Yeah,
it really is such a bummer that they don't do that anymore, and I hope at some
super.
point in the future it does come back, because I think it is a much, much, much better way of doing it. The only thing that sucks for that is that the winner has to wait like months and months to find out. But like
Right.
at the end of the day, you're still
Yeah.
getting a lot of money at the end either way. So
Right. I mean, and that's how it is in every other country. Like they don't know in Australia.
Mhm.
Right. Right.
So just go back to it. That's the way it always was. Like to the whole point of the shot in the dark. No one cares because that's how it was. No one will care to wait because that's what they would have expected.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Um,
and tough noogies if you don't want to wait.
yeah. You just
you're
have
about to get $1
have
million.
to wait.
You can hold off a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Um, so with the Gabe vote, like I mentioned before, I was particularly interested in Caroline because she's part of my draft team, and she was working very closely with Gabe and Sue. They were a little trio, and Caroline flipped and voted out Gabe. I wasn't sure how well Caroline would be able to mend sort of the betrayal, the issue here with Sue. Um, but she did it a lot easier than I expected. But then I thought to myself, I guess Sue doesn't really have a choice here, right? I mean, she doesn't really have anyone else at this point.
Yep. That was the next thing I was going to say. Like, what is Sue going to say? No, I didn't like that. Absolutely not. I'm out. And you're out to who? Like,
Yeah,
where are you going? Like,
yeah.
I will say I've been a really critical of Caroline's game, but this episode I was starting to see like something. I just feel like she slipped up in such big ways before, but it didn't really seem to matter. So I guess it doesn't matter. She seems to be carrying herself a lot better now. Just like Andy. Uh-oh. Y'all better look out. Here comes Andy
I've been saying, man.
with his fine self.
I am so curious because it looks like he's been involved in so many of these things, and I feel like a lot of people don't even realize it.
Yeah.
Which could end up hurting him. I guess if he's in the at the end and people don't realize, I mean, he'd really have to convince people that he was the one behind a lot of these moves.
It does seem like there is a lot of focus put on him too, just in general, in like a lot of the segments, even just like in like the here's what happened on the last episode. There's always something about Andy. I don't know. He's definitely one to look out for. They're giving him a lot of screen time, and I don't think it's just because he's entertaining. Like
it's either going to be a really devastating loss or
yeah.
Like we had like in this episode. I mean, I know it's the next on, so I'm jumping around a little bit, but even the next episode, they were showing Genevieve because Genevieve and Sam at this point now are like desperate to find any way to stay in the game, and they show Genevieve making a fake idol, going to Sam, talking about using it, and Sam's first comment was like, "Oh no, we got to get Andy. Andy's the straw that stirs the drink." That's what he said, and it's like Andy just made this alliance of 5 people to go against Kyle, Sam, and Genevieve. And it's like, is he about to flip on this one? And like, is anyone ever going to catch on that like the second you start working with Andy, he screws you over? Like, is anyone going to notice this?
Yeah, I mean, sort of though, because I don't think Kyle was like really truly working with Andy. Andy's just like found himself in this really valuable middle ground where like because he's almost done the Carolyn thing where it's like, oh, I'm so chaotic. Oh no. Where it's like he's able to sort of use that in a way to his benefit. I think almost in a very similar way that she does, because he can attribute a lot of what he does to his chaotic energy, but like he is playing the game and he's playing it quite well to have gotten this far after having such a crazy, terrible first couple days.
Yeah. He's been very interesting to watch. We'll see. I never thought he'd make it this far. Still happy he's not on my team. Sorry. I don't even care if he wins.
I'm proud to have him.
That's crazy.
I would have loved to have him. Well,
I would have taken him over Gabe.
Yeah.
I don't like him either.
Never liked Gabe. Sorry.
Did you see? I was skipping ahead now, but like he made like the comment when Kyle like asked everybody for a hug. He was like, "Oh God, what a hero!" It's like the rest of the jury, and they were all just like,
"Yeah."
I don't know. He's just like Sue, just like for whatever reason, this guy Kyle, who like for all intents and purposes seems like a very like great dude, have this weird vendetta against him. That is really off-putting.
Right, especially like after the fact. Like you're making this comment like, "Oh, like what a hero," as if he's doing it as a manufactured thing. It's like there's literally no benefit to him doing this. Exactly. There's no benefit to him doing this at this point. So like why do you think that that's fake? Like maybe you just got it wrong.
Yeah. And like
this speaks way more to like it does to anything else.
Yeah. He's also like Kyle has had like a rough go of it. I know Jeff said something on the On Fire podcast where he had been, I think in like 6 years, been through like 27 homes in the foster system or something like that. Like man's does not come from a well-off background. So like
yeah, like I could see some people using the family thing. I'm a family man, this and that, like as like a way to like a strategy to get yourself further in the game. Like, oh, he's a family man, like. But with Kyle, I feel like it actually is genuine for the reasons that you gave. Like when we learned more about his history going through the foster care system, like this is clearly somebody that really, truly, genuinely believes that family is incredibly important, because as a kid, he didn't have that. So now he's able to give that to his own children, and it's like, I totally believe that everything that Kyle did at the end of that tribal council was authentic. Like, 100%. Yeah. So, yeah. Kyle. I could see him being back too, actually.
Oh, for sure.
And maybe play a little better socially this time. Mix the comps with the social game, maybe. But Rome said on Rob had a podcast that Kyle said something cancelable about Sue and Carolyn.
Kyle
don't
also
know.
addressed that in his post game interview, and he was like, the only thing I can even think of what he might be talking about is when he called them Tweedledee and Tweedledum. But like,
Is that it?
cancelable is crazy.
Yeah, is that it?
I mean, like, we're taking people's
Yeah.
words here, so like, who's to
Mhm.
say?
But Tweedledee and Tweedledum, I wouldn't cancel anyone for.
And especially like if you have a pair of people that are inseparable and just bumbling about for all intents and purposes.
That's a silly, goofy little name.
Yeah, sorry, I don't think
Yeah.
that's a big deal.
That almost feels like to
That's
me
what it
like Rome knows he was probably one of those like the least popular players in the cast, so he's just trying to make other people look worse and himself better. Maybe.
Because it's like, if it was cancelable and it's something that you were upset about, fucking say it.
Bill, yeah.
What did he say?
Yeah.
What was it? What was it?
Well, this is interesting because Liz adds, and then Rome responded saying that that's not it, and that what he said was so bad, production had to edit around it.
Then
But
what
again, then tell us what it is.
Right. I would love to know what it is, but there's a part of me that also does wonder. I feel like Sue has a lot of venom towards Kyle that seems unfounded. Like she does seem like she was so like just irritated by him, where other people were not. Everyone acknowledged that he's a big threat, but there was something about the way that the way that she spoke about wanting him to go out.
Yeah, it
Like
was.
vitriol behind it.
Yeah, there was a little something extra there, and I just kind of thought it made Sue. I was almost endeared towards it because like, yo, Sue's funny. Like she's like big mad, and it's like, but if there's something else behind it, then it's actually not funny. So yeah, I'm curious to know. I'm even more curious about Sue's thoughts at this point. Like,
He did
Sue's
say in a couple.
soliloquy.
Soliloquy.
He said in a couple interview, like in the like in-game interviews, that like it is because he wrote her name down, which was on day like 5. So
Yeah.
she never said anything other than that. And like, I don't want to like sit here and be like, oh, this guy's making shit up. But like, when it's one person's
You
word
never
against another, and like you're not like, you're gonna go out, you're willing enough to go out there and say, oh, he said something bad, but like,
But not what it is.
won't give any more context than that.
Right.
That's
We have to get Sue on the pod.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sue for
I also
Strat Chat.
As long as your
I don't know
face
what's
is
going on with your
completely and
face.
totally
Yeah.
clean.
Why doesn't your face get clean? What's going on with the whole Rome Kyle thing? Like, we have a lot of questions for Sue. And I think Sue would also be the only one to correctly answer the question regarding toothbrushes. All right. We're going to get right down to the straight facts with
Was
Sue.
Ferris not enough?
Oh yeah.
Stop. Don't
Listen,
do that.
Doesn't trust his man.
We got to try to get Sue, but hopefully
Ferris
she doesn't
likes to
see
fuck
us.
with me. That's the thing.
I want Sue, but hopefully she doesn't see us talking about her dirty face.
Well, the problem isn't the dirty parts, the parts that aren't dirty. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Sue.
I don't know. That accusation by Rome too. Like if it was Sue or Caroline or somebody else making it, like I would put a little more credibility into it. Like if you're not going to tell us what was said, what was done, you're just going to keep hinting that something really bad happened, and it's coming from like one of the most disliked members of the cast. Like I have a little bit. It could be totally true. Maybe he's telling the truth. I'm sorry, Rome, but I'm sorry. It's too bad. All right, we had a journey during this episode. Liz, we can ask how she keeps her lips so clean. All right, we had a journey. A boat showed up to camp, and what did we find out about this? So we knew that either the group had to come to a consensus on who was going, right, or if they couldn't decide, they would draw rocks.
Yes.
Genevieve and Sam, no surprise, really wanted to go the way their games are going right now. And then Rachel also threw herself in because she's thinking, I don't want these guys to get an advantage or some kind of help in the game now. And Rachel was the one that pulled the purple rock to go on the journey. Did you like this journey?
Yes.
Out in the middle of the ocean?
Personally, I think like if we're gonna do journeys, like this is the kind of stuff I want to see.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like something that like clearly like had a lot of thought put into it, was exciting to watch, and just was like the reward seemed to match the challenge. I think this is like, if we're doing journeys, this is what I want from that
Mhm.
situation.
Mm. They've been better this season, I think. I still don't love them. Some of them I really don't like, but I think that the journeys on this season have definitely been an improvement from
Mm.
recent seasons.
I have a feeling Kyle's gonna
Yeah,
descend.
I can see it in his eyes.
Um, well, I'm happy to say it is not a full descent.
Okay.
I dissent. Well, no. I agree that all journeys this season have been better. However, I don't want to see any other of them. This truly is the only journey I want to see. This was awesome. This
Mhm.
was so much fun. From the mechanics of the game, I love the wait timer thing. I'm sure you'll get into it. The fact that it was solo and it
Mhm.
was quick. I don't want to see all this marching all around and all this nonsense. It was one person, and we just do it and we get out of here.
Mhm.
It was awesome. This
Mm.
was this was fantastic. I really like this one.
Yeah.
Um,
It was fun. I would have
mm.
enjoyed trying to do this
Oh, I
challenge
definitely would
Oh,
have
here too,
failed.
right?
Oh, I
my
would have failed.
anxiety would have gotten the better of me for
Yeah,
sure.
no, I couldn't do it.
I
I
play
absolutely
these
couldn't.
kind of games sometimes with
No,
trying to get
I
the right
could do
color.
it.
So I
It's the
feel like
time limit. The time limit that had
you're
to
right.
be
You're right.
so fast.
It looked
I think
fast.
they said it was 3 minutes,
Yeah.
somewhere around there.
Wow.
But it's also like, I was on
That's
on his podcast, like they were talking about like how much went into this one challenge, and like the I mean, you have to think about like the mechanics of, first of all, figuring out the time system at all, then finding the place in the ocean where the
to make
sea
that
level is
work.
correct and the ropes
Mhm.
are all the right length to make it go that, and
Right.
like time it
Mhm.
up to like how long will it take to do this puzzle, and like also then like specifically finding the kind of puzzle that you can throw into the ocean and not like worry about stuff like getting floating to the bottom and you're never being
Yeah,
able to
yeah, yeah.
find it. Like it's just like I think the amount of like care and thought that like went into this like shows, and
Yeah.
is part of what makes it so great to watch, because it feels thought out.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And that is the level of thought that should be into every single thing that we do here. This is
Hmm.
a multi-million dollar production. All right, we do two a year. Like, get it right already. This is what, 47? Like, we've already done this new Eras thing 6 other times. Come on now.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I expect. Finally. It
Mm.
took years to get here. Like,
Oh
it
man.
was awesome.
But yeah, so we've kind of mentioned what it was, right? Having to get all the same color balls at each tube. Rachel had to drop a weight into the ocean that would start pulling the rope down. Once the last weight dragged the last bit of rope down, it would pull the entire puzzle into the ocean, which I
Crazy.
also loved. There was a part of me
The
that, like,
dramatics.
right, it was
So
very
dramatic.
close. It was very close, but there was a part of me that was hoping that Rachel would get it, like, would have to like run after the thing and like grab it out as it was falling. Like that would have been amazing.
Like the fact that it came down to that specific, like to the wire, is crazy. The odds of that must be
Mhm.
insane.
Oh yeah.
Right, and I appreciate that end of it too, because that's not something that you could have manufactured.
Mm.
Like you can't. There's no production tricks in there. It's not like some of these other shows that we watch, where we kind of think we might be getting like a fake clock on the screen and
Mhm.
like whatever. You can't manufacture any of this. That truly is how it happened, and
Yeah.
that's just awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Agreed. It's good
and
stuff.
Rachel gets the advantage to block a vote, which I love that power too, especially at this point in the game, because we got this group of 5 over here, a group of 3 over here.
hmm
All of these votes could come down to one person's vote, and the fact that Rachel could block that, I know what she's got. What now? It has to be used when there's 6 players left in the game, right?
I think it's
So
it's this next episode, right?
um,
I don't remember.
so
Wow.
We're down to
Yeah, I
six
so
now?
guess
we
so.
had 8.
Only
We
up
had
to 6, right?
well, we had 8 in this episode. Kyle
Okay.
lost
Yes,
an hour
because
at
we
7.
have 7.
Yeah,
So you can
Okay.
use it once, or does it mean you can use it? There's still 2.
There's
I
2 tribals
think
to use it at,
yeah,
but
Okay.
you can only
which
use it
makes
one
it
of those tribals.
which to me, like, I was really happy that she didn't use it or anything this time, because I feel like as each person goes and the votes get slimmer and slimmer, it's going to be even more exciting when she just drops that and uses it. Like,
Mhm.
and she's got a lot of power now too, between the block the vote, and she has an immunity idol that she got from under the tarp at the camp.
Mm.
And she also won the immunity challenge in this
Crazy.
episode.
She had a hell of an episode.
For
Yeah.
real.
Yeah, she had a great time.
Yeah.
Makes you a little nervous though, doesn't it? Sometimes
It
I
does.
fly too close to the sun.
It makes me very nervous. I'm like, Rachel, you're the person on my team that I feel like has the best chance to win, and it feels like things are going too well.
Yeah.
While there are
She
still
shot
too
up.
many people.
She's top of the point chart right now. She's our highest scoring player. She shot
Yeah.
up to like
She's killing it.
151 or something like that. Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, I this is the first time where I like was looking at her and being like, oh, she does have a chance to win. Because
Yeah.
I think I've generally throughout the season been unimpressed by both Rachel and Caroline, and people keep
Really, I
saying
feel
like,
like
oh,
Rachel's had a really solid season the
I
whole
don't
time.
know. She just like maybe she was flying so far under the radar for me personally that like it wasn't even like registering. Whereas like people are out there playing flashier games, making flashier moves, where she just seems to be on the right side of things.
You're
But-
probably also just combining her stuff with Caroline's stuff. because
Okay, you know I can tell them apart now. Now that they're all together, it's much easier.
and the
But
fact
like,
that they look
well,
nothing.
that's just it though. At the beginning of the season, there wasn't a ton of screen time for her or Caroline or
Yeah.
was there
No, you're
somebody
right.
else? And so like
Especially. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
it was hard to pick her out because I wasn't seeing her. You know what I mean? Especially so like when there's 12 people covered head to toe in mud, I don't know
Well,
which one's
that,
Rachel. You know, I don't know which one's Rachel when they're not covered in mud. And it's not I don't even know necessarily that it was that I thought they looked alike. It was just like I didn't know which one was which.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I wasn't seeing them. But now like you're seeing her and it, like this is the first time where I was like, "Oh, okay. Sure." Yeah.
Yeah. I also think with Rachel, like specifically too, like she was on Gata and like she was just always going to get overshadowed when like in the beginning of the game. The way Andy like blew everything up, and then Sam and Sierra decided to work with Andy, and it was just like they were dominating the tribe at that point.
And
like,
Annika too was
Yeah.
everyone has around them has just been much louder
yeah,
than them. And
Yep.
now the quiet is starting to work in their favor, which I think is what is sort of making me like see their chances clearer.
yeah.
Sure.
So it is interesting. I thought too, though, that so obviously Rachel came back. She told some of the truth to some people, and then she later, for her, closest allies, told the whole truth. That she had not lost her vote and she had gotten this block of vote advantage. We talk about this a lot. I mean, right after she tells Caroline, like Sue was super thrilled to get this information and really now had trust in Rachel. Where we saw Caroline immediately go, all right, well, this is good for me because I might be working with Rachel right now, but it's just going to keep making her a bigger target. Like big mistake to tell her about this advantage. Do you think, Caroline, Rachel telling Caroline, or I mean, it's hard in this like journey setting because it's hard to get people to actually believe you. Like Sam clearly did not believe Rachel at all. So
what's funny about that is like everything she told Sam, with the exception of her not winning, is true.
Yeah. I love how
how do you make that up? Like that is too.
Right.
Yeah, but like it almost is too much detail. Because like a lot of the time if you're telling a story with so much detail, it feels more made up because you're putting so much work into like spinning a web. Whereas like if you were just like if it's more casual, like it feels more but it's just I just find it so funny.
Yeah.
That's it's like, no, that couldn't have been real.
I love how he like
the whole board went
yeah.
into the ocean.
He was like, I don't know, it just sounds a little extravagant. It's like she's talking about a barge in the middle of the ocean. What's extravagant
the producers
about
are
that?
like, hey.
Yeah, I also think though that there is an element of people know that these confessionals are going to be watched, so they want to look like they're smarter than the machine, if you will. That they're just going to keep saying, "Oh yeah, no, I knew better," and it's like you're just saying that just in case.
Yeah, right.
Just in case. And you know what?
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah, no, I do think that plays into some of that.
For sure.
The other question there though was about, do we think that Rachel made a good decision in telling Sue and Caroline? I think it was a great decision to tell Sue. The Caroline thing though, I think that I think two things can be true. Like, we know because of the way that Caroline is playing that this was not a good decision, but I could understand. I think that also does speak a little bit to how well that Caroline is playing because Rachel saw it as a good thing to share it with her. And I
Mhm.
could see why she would think that based on the current perceived structure.
Yeah.
Like, it made sense to me that she would want to tell her. I just happen
Mm.
to know a little bit better.
Right.
To that point too, I think I'm sure it crossed her mind that if she's telling Sue, she kind of is telling Caroline. I think Sue and Caroline are like a clear duo
Mm. Do you
as far
think
as
that
like
Sue would have? Do you think Sue would have told? Do you
I
think she
think
would have
she
told
might have.
Caroline?
I think she might
Huh.
have. I think Sue and Caroline have been together since day one, and everybody on the beach knows that. And there is no trying to think. I don't think there's really a tighter pair at this point. The tight pairs have
No,
all sort of been
I
broken
just
up. So if
It
Sue is going to tell somebody, it's gonna be Caroline. So I think getting
yeah,
ahead
I
of
just
that
like
is the smart choice.
I guess yes. If she's gonna tell someone, I could see it being Caroline, but I do see Sue as being a person who, um, sorry, I got really distracted because I like the Sue being a person who that was very fun to me. Um, but I do think that she'd be a person that would kind of see it in her best interest to not spill, because if she has to cut somebody or something or keep trust or
Unless
I
she
don't know in
sees
an alliance
Rachel
of
as a threat
three.
because of it.
but like for me
Yeah.
almost I feel like not necessarily that it's one-sided, but I feel like Caroline is a lot more down to loop Sue into stuff than Sue would be in the reverse. Like I feel like I haven't really seen a lot of situations of Sue having something and letting Caroline in on it that she didn't happen to find out on her own. Like the whole like
Mm,
Sue's idol thing, like Caroline found out about it and was like, "Hey, I know
Mm.
you have this." Sue didn't tell her. So like I feel like there's a lot of like Caroline wanting to give Sue information. I don't
Mm.
necessarily know that the opposite would be true all the
Right.
I
time.
just don't think that Sue has never been privy to any information to
That's what
share.
I
That's
was
also
gonna say. I mean, with the
Yeah.
exception of that idol, like
Mhm.
who is go? I feel like Sue has never really been the go-to to
Mhm.
share with. I don't know.
Yeah.
I could. I mean, we could be totally wrong, but I
Yeah.
can't think of an instance. I don't know.
It's a fun
Um,
conversation either way.
yeah.
Yeah,
No. Definitely.
Yeah.
but I get it. I get why she told them both. I don't think I would have told anyone at that point in the game personally, but I do understand like wanting to share that with someone and build that trust.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No. Totally. Oh, what do you got? What do
Sorry,
you got?
I
No.
just
No.
want to add
Sorry.
that I almost feel like you have to. You have to, because if there's anyone that you are intending to play the game with, if they find out somehow later, you
Mhm.
lost them.
Yeah.
Mm.
I feel like you do got to tell somebody. Maybe not at this stage what I've told two, but someone has to know so that someone knows that I hold them in some kind of high regard.
Yeah.
Because if I don't show you that, then you have no reason to show me that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's got to be at least one.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do. But again, to that, I don't know that Rachel has a clear number one. So I don't. If she's gonna tell anyone, I feel like she's got to tell them
Yeah.
both
No. You're
because
right.
then it's like, why are you choosing to tell Caroline and not Sue? Like it
Mhm.
could. Yeah, I don't know.
Right. That's
I
why
do
like,
think she made
Rachel
the
made
right
the best
call.
decision she could at that time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
It's kind of funny with Rachel too, because I feel like there was a point where she did want like Sam to be her number one. You know, like they talked about working together, and
Uh-huh.
like it was just the second that she gave him that information about the soul vote when he ran off.
Mhm.
And like, listen, was it the wrong move? Was it the right move? He's still there, Sam. So he's doing something right. But at the end of the day, I'm like, maybe you'd be feeling a little more comfortable, Sam, if you didn't spill the beans and you could have a number one and you're still in the game. I don't know. I just,
Yeah.
Yeah,
oh,
it
Sam.
could have been him that Rachel was sharing that
Yeah.
information
Mhm.
with.
Right.
I also just while we're on him, like Sam, everyone talking about him possibly being like the next physical threat. I don't know why they're all saying that. Like
Because he's a
the
big
man
dude.
hasn't. That's
Right.
it.
It's
That's the
He
only
just,
hasn't
reason.
won
he
anything,
looks right.
nor has he made it to the end of most. like,
Yeah.
like he's not even the upper percentiles. Like, what are we talking about
No.
here?
Yeah.
I think he
Like,
just
oh my
looks
gosh,
like that
I'm gonna be the
typical.
next one. It's like, yeah, but I mean, like Genevieve,
Yeah,
Sue,
well,
even.
I was gonna say not physically, but like they're saying they point to Genevieve a lot as like a social threat and a threat like to win.
Mhm.
But at this point in the game, like it almost feels like her fire has gone out already. You know what I mean? She's been faltering for like a while. It feels like so. It's
Yeah.
interesting that they're still pointing to those two as
Mm.
like the big threats. Where I don't think they are. I mean, obviously they don't know everything what we know. We don't know everything that they know. But I think the biggest winner threats from our perspective are in that five. So it's
Yeah.
interesting that that's the five that was created.
Yeah, especially because like I feel like Genevieve's whole thing, like she was playing a really solid game because she had that like manipulation tactic down of like getting people to do what I want them to do. But there's now been what, two tribals in a row where everyone's like, well, I know Genevieve does this. So it's like, well, she
Mhm,
can't really play that manipulation game anymore because everybody openly knows that she's doing it.
mhm.
Mm,
So like what real power does she have?
Yeah.
right.
I think that the game, like the intensity of it, like took her a little bit by surprise. I think like they showed that flashback of Genevieve and Kishan talking to each other, and Kishan being like, "Genevieve, like I trusted you," and like you could see that after that she was like, "I've been having a really hard time because I'm trying to separate Genevieve the person from Genevieve
Yep.
the player," and I feel like that happened with Kishan, and then the whole soul vote got botched, even though he still got voted out, and then she took all the blame for it, you know, like and I
Yeah.
feel like
Mhm.
since then she can't really recover. And then in this episode, it's funny that Genevieve came up because I wanted to talk about her next anyway. Um, but where she's going to Rachel at one point, being like, "Well, you know, if because at this point, Sam, Genevieve, and Kyle were all talking about protecting each other. So to get attention off of Kyle, Genevieve's going to Rachel like, wouldn't it be good if we get like one of these people out that's just being like herded along, shepherded along to the final, like
Mm.
Andy or Sue?" And I'm thinking to myself too, like this is why it could be hard for Andy to win, even if he gets to the end, because the perception that people have of him is just, and it might be
Mhm.
on purpose that he's trying to cause like chaos and seem like he's just all over the place.
I think it is.
But
It's just a really hard game to take credit for
Yeah.
retroactively.
Absolutely.
I think it's only hard depending on how you articulate things when you get to the end, and I think it also depends on who you're sitting next to. Because if you're sitting next to people who can't completely like claim some of those moves, and when people ask you direct questions and you have direct answers, like yes, that did look messy and chaotic, and maybe my initial jump was chaotic, but I maximized it by doing this. If you're
Mhm.
able to just answer those questions correctly,
Yeah. It is all about perception, like
Yep.
really.
yeah,
And
because you can
it's
change
all
perception just with answering just a few questions correctly. It's like, "Oh,
Mhm.
wait, I see where you're coming from now."
And
yeah,
one
Yeah.
person having like kind of faltering in their final tribal while you like do well enough, like one person just sort of like dropping the ball a little bit, like is could be the difference. So he could be there against Rachel, and if he just speaks better or she says something that like kind of like puts people with a bad taste in their mouth, like he could win whether or not he deserves it. We see it all the time. And I'm
Mhm.
for an example, like I'm not saying that I don't think Kenzie deserves her win because I do, but like had Charlie given one better answer, he lost by one vote. That could
Mm.
have been completely flipped.
Right,
It's
right.
just a matter. It's so
It's the
subjective.
questions and that speech.
Yeah, it
Mhm.
It's
is
yep,
how
so
can you
subjective
speak to
at the end.
these things?
And
And
what
that's
we've
how
seen
we
with
really know, though, how much intention was behind some of these actions, and, like,
Mhm.
unfortunately, even as viewers, we're not really gonna know that until we get there. If
Yeah.
you're able to really pinpoint some of those moments, and speak to them.
Yeah, and I do think one thing about Andy is that he is fairly articulate,
he
and
is.
Yeah.
I think if you were to put Andy up against Sue, there'd be no question of who would be more capable of articulating a game played, in
Yeah,
my opinion.
no, totally. I'm actually trying to think. Like, I don't think that there's anybody that Andy has like no chance against. Like,
Yeah,
I feel like because you
There's
said
some.
because you're right. he's articulate. Like there are certain players that you're like, okay, if these two people are there, then that person has no shot. But if they're against this person, they could probably win. It's like there's different. But Andy, I feel like because he's articulate enough, could like really like blow some of the jury members' minds when they realize that like if he's as articulate as we think, if he's able to explain these moves and show people like, oh wow, that's right. No, he's totally right.
And also, not for nothing, he's been on the right side of a lot of votes in the past, in the post-merge.
Yeah, more so than Sam or Sierra, who thought that they were the ones carrying him along this whole time, and he's been on the right side of more votes than they ever were.
You can absolutely take credit for the Sierra vote. I mean, you can certainly take credit for the Annika vote. He's been the middleman so many times that it's a lot of those are his for the taking. I don't know. I think he's come quite a long way from that day 3 meltdown.
He sure has.
That's for sure. And I'm happy to see that.
Yeah,
it's nice to see people like that, like growing before your very eyes.
It's a good story for sure.
Yeah.
As much as I want Sam to win because he's the last member of my team, I wouldn't be mad to see Andy take it all.
Yeah. Oh boy. So it's funny though. We've been talking for weeks about how when Kyle gets, loses immunity again, they got to vote him out. He lost at one point. They still didn't vote him out. And then is where Genevieve just keeps shooting herself in the foot. Like everyone was set on Kyle. As soon as Genevieve goes over and talks to Rachel about possibly targeting an Andy or a Sue, she starts to say, all right, well, you know what? Maybe Kyle, maybe he can stay for a little longer, because Genevieve is constantly trying to manipulate people, throw people's names out, trying to stir stuff up. And I know Genevieve is just trying to, protect herself, but it's just, I don't know. It's hard. This automatically made me feel like all of a sudden I was nervous that we were not going to lose Kyle and that Genevieve was going to get voted out again.
Well, because it's like if like everybody is in agreement, like you don't have to be the one leading every single vote all the time. Like take a back seat to this one. Everyone's down for voting out Kyle. Cool.
Yeah. No, I think she's dug herself into a hole and she's struggling with how she should get out of it. And and probably I think just overthinking things. She also seems to be, like we said, she's talked about it at tribal council, just really struggling with this like internal conflict of like, can I be cutthroat enough to actually win this game? That's what it feels like to me. But this immunity challenge was fun, I thought.
Yeah, it's classic.
Yeah. This was the one, they're stacking the blocks to spell out the word immunity on a very wobbly platform. And this was very exciting. They had to go back and forth. It seemed like the slightest little move. This looked so frustrating.
This challenge would break me.
Yeah.
It would absolutely break me.
I really enjoyed it. Like the journey was great with Rachel, that coming down to the wire, and then watching this where like it felt like at some point every single person that was competing had the lead. Like at some point.
That's what's great about these kinds of challenges is that it really is anyone's game.
Yep.
Which makes it more fun to watch.
100%.
Love it.
And it's good. It's funny because Kyle still almost won this one, by the way. Was very close a couple of times. But I'm glad, because if this was a different competition, he might have like blown everybody else away. But this is really like pretty level playing field for everybody. And Rachel took it out. She took the win. So no reward in this episode, though. Just the immunity challenge. All right. I think that was it for the immunity challenge. Any other thoughts on that?
No, just until you said that, I didn't even notice there wasn't a reward.
Good stuff.
Yeah. All right. I mean, that pretty much took us into like our scrambling, right? This was now talk about, there was some debate between that underdog alliance, the 5 of them, about whether or not they should take out Genevieve or Kyle. What did you think of Andy's whole argument? I'm not even sure if the odds he was throwing out there were correct, but he was saying, because we know if you leave these compies in for too long, sometimes it's just too late. You can't get them out then. And he was talking about how, it's only a 6.25% chance that Kyle won't lose a challenge eventually, or blah, blah, blah. And that's why we should go for Genevieve instead. Like, did you think that he had anything there? Because Rachel was pretty wary of Genevieve also, by the way.
I think the instinct to want to take out a bigger someone that you're perceiving as a bigger threat in a way that you could truly blindside them because it seems so clear cut. I think that's a good instinct. I don't think it's necessarily like out of bounds to even suggest somebody else because everything seems so cut and dry. Like that's the time when you make big moves. So I get it. I don't necessarily know that it would have been the right move, but I think it's a totally fair argument to make something. I think it's a totally fair thing to throw out there.
I agree.
And I
do
think
agree.
you got it. You have to sort of look at it from all angles before you settle into just one thing.
Yeah, yeah, and it is funny to me because Teeny is someone that I maybe would have thought would have been on board because of the fact that Genevieve has screwed them over now twice, right, with Kashan and then Soul. But Teeny, they were actually showing like restraint. Like, I want Genevieve out. It would be so satisfying, but I don't think right now is the right time. It's a little interesting, but
That
and
was a
then
funny moment with them too because it was like I think Andy was pitching it and Teeny was just like, "Nope, not
yeah,
doing that."
yeah,
That was the end of the conversation. It was good.
right.
I
And
like
and
that. Yeah, I like that too.
yeah, yeah. But Caroline too. So Andy and Rachel wanted to make this move on Genevieve. Teeny, we just said, did not. Caroline also did not want to. And one of the reasons that Caroline gave for not wanting to vote Genevieve out yet was because she didn't want to betray Sue for a second time, like in a row, from tribal to tribal. Which makes me feel like, did Genevieve and Sue have like a much closer relationship that I don't know about or something? Like, I don't ever, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I can't think of a time that I've really seen them together.
No, but I also wonder,
But
like, who is Genevieve's number one?
I think it's less so Sue's relationship with Genevieve than it is Sue's vendetta against Kyle.
so okay,
Mm.
that makes sense. Yeah, I was thinking
Like
about it the wrong way.
Sue
I feel
wanted
like
Kyle
you're
out so
probably right
bad
there.
that if Caroline were to change that vote, that would
Right,
be
because
a slight.
okay, yes, you're totally right. I was totally looking at that from the wrong angle because I'm just thinking about, like, why the hell should Sue care about Genevieve? Like, but you're right. It makes sense that, like, if Caroline were to flip on the vote again and vote out Genevieve instead, it's almost like you're taking a shot at Sue by leaving someone in that she thinks is such a threat to her game, who's like already said her name, called her Tweedledee and Tweedledum or whatever. like Sue has been walking around this beach chopping coconuts open like they're Kyle's head or something like that, talking about how much she hates him. So yeah, you're right. You're right.
Maybe Kyle was talking about how Sue's face doesn't get dirty. Maybe that's what the chance is.
The conspiracies are.
Uh-oh.
Yikes! Not this
Um,
Kyle.
Kyle, we were talking about it. Hey,
Slightly.
slightly.
Rewriting history right before our eyes.
Hey, seems like everyone else is able to. Why can't I?
Oof.
Woof.
So we went to tribal council, and
Well, we didn't. They did.
no, we were there. I was there. You weren't there.
You were there?
Yeah, I was there.
That's crazy.
I was sitting right next to Sierra.
Gina, shut up.
It was funny. So obviously everybody's noticing that something's off with Genevieve. The energy is just not there, right? Jeff made a comment like, just doesn't seem like the same Genevieve we've been getting in other tribal councils. It seems like Genevieve is on her last legs here.
That's what I'm saying. It seems like her flame is dimming. For sure.
I don't know. I don't think we should be counting her out. She's out here. She's making a fake idol.
You're right,
very
and that's
smart.
the thing. You're right. The next on
She's
shows
just
the fake
laying
idol.
low. People
It's
can
that-
all of a sudden just
right.
have a resurgence.
You are 100% right. She might wake up tomorrow and say, "Listen, I could have been gone and I'm still here. Let me turn this around and let me start like getting my game back in gear." I just feel like at least before that next on, from the last couple episodes and this one, it just feels like she like had almost given up in a way. Even that pitch to Rachel, like, "Oh, well, if we can't get Kyle, do you want to get like Andy or Sue?" Like, it didn't even feel like her whole heart was in that either. It felt like she was
Yeah,
had
I
to do
think this
something.
episode was a lull for her. You know,
Yeah.
we see people have ups and downs in games like this, and I think this particular episode, this time frame, was a low for her. I think Genevieve is going to be back, and she's going to be back, and she's going to be taking charge, and I think that we're going to see Genevieve in the final 3. I really do.
There's a non-zero
Okay.
chance.
All right.
Yeah,
Hey.
yeah. I'm not going to say she's going to win. There's a lot of games still left to happen, but I don't think she's out next.
Yeah.
I really don't.
She's very smart, right? Well, what
Yeah.
did she say? She's like a corporate lawyer or something like that. Obviously very smart,
Mhm.
and has a good, clearly has strategy on her mind all the time, even if it doesn't always work out the way she wants.
Yeah, I think it's more that she was, like you said, I think she was slammed with some of the emotional aspect of this that I don't think she properly anticipated for it. I do think that jarred her and that rocked her a bit. But she's resetting.
Okay. Justice for Genevieve.
Yeah, it's like one of those Mario Party characters. You get knocked and get the stars around, and it's like, wait, I'm not down though. Like once these stars go away, I'm set. I'm back. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get good.
Listen,
that's Genevieve. Yeah.
Kyle, you and I have both been in the presence for some of the most miraculous comebacks in Mario Party history, including the 7-star swap. Okay, landed on that chance space. Yes, me and Kyle were playing Mario Party with Steve, Jay, and Marielle.
Yeah, it was Marielle. Yep.
Right, and Marielle and Jay were playing as a duo, like as a little team. Steve was winning this game by like a ridiculous amount. He had 7 stars. He had like hundreds of coins. Everybody else had like nothing.
7 stars is crazy.
Yeah. So on the last,
it was a really offensive thing. Like it kind of sucked the fun out of the room.
Yeah. It was. I can't tell you, like, a group of very close friends playing a Mario Party video game, and I don't think I've ever heard a room so quiet. Because on the very last turn of the game, yeah, like the very last dice roll, Jay and Marielle land on the chance space. What do you got, Kyle?
No, it's also worth mentioning that Jay and Marielle had already long since given up.
Yeah,
like they had never had more than like 13 coins. like they had they were like, whatever, we just want to get to the end of this game, and then this happened.
Yeah, so they land on the chance space. Those, you know how they have the blocks? They're rolling on the top, and you got to hit them, so they stop. First one goes, it's Steve's face. The next one goes, it's an arrow pointing in the opposite direction of Steve. The next one goes, it's Yoshi or whoever Marielle and Jay were playing with. I think they played with Yoshi usually. So 7 stars and like however many hundreds of coins that Steve had just now went to Marielle and Jay, and Steve was left penniless with no stars.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. Mario Party is a game of chance. There is no skill involved in that.
No, you got to be good at those mini games.
Yeah, and you know what? You don't have to be, because then you can switch 7 stars right at the end of the game.
You're absolutely right.
The story you're telling me right now.
Absolutely nothing. The only thing that being good at mini games gets you is maybe one of those bonus stars at the end. Otherwise, like you just. It really, really doesn't matter.
Listen, we do
have
to
acknowledge take it away in a heartbeat.
Yeah, but I will say we do have to acknowledge that, you know, I think the majority of the time, if you're winning mini games, it's very good, and that takes skill. Okay, but
some of the mini games are luck based.
Some of them, not all of them. A lot
like
of them
50-50.
Nah,
the skill aspect of Mario Party is much less important than the luck aspect. 100%. We're not playing chess here.
Look at John getting frustrated with us. He took us on this tangent.
Yeah, I started this.
Like,
you told us a story proving our point. This story you told helps us.
So listen,
all right, I'm done with this. I only wanted to say what I had to say.
I didn't want you to respond. Listen. Here's the thing. That is such a rare occurrence. The 7-star swap is such a rare occurrence.
It is. It's so funny the way you handled that. It's just very funny.
It's such a rare occurrence. Like
game of chance.
All right. Let's move on. So, tribal council. Anything interesting that anybody wants to comment on it from tribal council?
No, our tribals suck.
Right. I feel like I'm constantly just kind of bored by that.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of metaphors. Like, good for you.
Yeah, the Australian tribal councils are incredible. every
Yeah,
single tribal council in Australia
because they don't give a damn. They're just like, I want you out. Who's with me?
yeah.
I'm like, and
And this
here
is like,
it's just
yeah,
everyone's just trying to be clever. It's like it's just
I
not the
would,
same.
I
right.
would
And
give a lot for a good Shawnee tribal right now.
ooh, yeah.
Seriously,
Oh
Let her
yeah,
go at it.
January.
Shawnee. Ah,
Oh, she's back, right? Oh, good
that's
shit.
Well,
right.
she's back
Right,
in
right,
the
right,
second
right.
season of the
Good
year.
for her.
The first one is going to be all newbies. Australia versus the World is the second one airing in 2025. But
Mm.
we hope you'll join us for that as well.
Oh yes, it's so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess the only thing that was somewhat exciting about this was that, there was talk about, is the comp threat the biggest threat that you had to get out, or is it
Mhm.
someone else that's manipulating people and obviously hinting at either Kyle or Genevieve. So it was a little exciting, I guess, to think that maybe there's a shot that that something can happen here exciting. Of course it didn't. But one thing that's weird is Teeny got a vote. Why do you think
Yeah, what
Teeny
the
got a vote?
hell?
Do we know who? I didn't watch, honestly, the votes.
I didn't see.
Do you know who voted for Teeny?
It was either Genevieve or Andy voted for Genevieve, and they Kyle.
Because
Hmm,
I'm just
I don't
confused.
know,
Like,
but I was pissed off on their behalf.
I'm
yeah,
not sure. I
I'm just
knew
gonna
at
look.
one point because I had to do the points, and whoever voted for Teeny didn't get the points for voting out the right person.
Right, I am
So
gonna
I
look
don't,
right
but I
now.
don't remember who it was. He had to have either been Kyle, Genevieve, or Andy. But I think
It's
Andy voted for
yeah,
Genevieve.
it's just weird to me that either Genevieve or Kyle would vote for Teeny, because I would think that they would want to try to stack votes on the other person. Like, I would assume that Kyle would definitely be voting Genevieve, and Genevieve would definitely be voting Kyle if those are the two names out there.
Mm.
But let's see the voting history. Okay, Teeny. It was Kyle. It's odd
Where
to
did that
me.
come from?
It's very odd to me. And Andy voted
Who said
Genevieve.
that?
What's that?
Yeah, who said that? Where did you get that from? Yeah.
Me?
No, forget it.
He's gonna do it. Ah,
It's supposed to be a ha and
What
now
I will say is, like, on the off chance that they didn't vote Kyle out, maybe it's better to hit for him not to have voted for Genevieve.
Because they were working together.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I can even think of, though. I don't
Yeah,
remember any of the other conversation
I guess that
leaning
makes sense.
towards
It's just
Teeny.
weird. I'm just thinking, if I'm Kyle and the only other name out there is Genevieve, I'm voting Genevieve. Like, it was weird. That's all. But what are you gonna do? Votes were read out. The vote came out 6 votes to I almost said evict, to eliminate Kyle, 1 vote to get out Genevieve, and 1 to take out Teeny. That's how our votes were all laid out. Obviously, I think we talked about it before. Yeah, we did, about Kyle, the way he left, giving everybody hugs.
Gabe making off-kilter comments.
I also enjoyed, because we talked about Gabe making the comment, right? Like, oh, what a hero. But I was like, I laughed because Sierra has been like death staring at this entire cast every time she comes into the tribal council. And so I laughed when she was like, he's a gentleman. I'm not. Like, she's so pissed. She's had like days now to like think about it and calm down. She's still pissed.
he's so
Bring
bitter.
back the Ponderosa videos.
Yeah.
Bring on back.
So that brings us to the next on. First, we saw Caroline, Sue, Rachel, and Teeny talking about being the final 4, girl power, sticking together and making the final 4 all women. And then we saw Genevieve making the fake idol and planning with Sam and pulling in Andy. So I'm curious to see how that goes.
It's so funny to me that they're like, yes, the 4 women, but fuck Genevieve.
Yeah. It's so funny.
You're all threats. What? She's not like, I don't know, funny.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Not
Okay.
that one though.
So we have to go over these points real quick.
Absolutely.
Can I tell you guys that this is not only my first win of the season. This is, since we started doing this Survivor Draft. This is the first time that I've ever won an episode.
Really? Is that true?
Ever.
Wow.
Wow.
Congratulations, John. You did it.
Because last season I
Crazy.
didn't come in last, only due to the fact that Mikey had such a bad season. I didn't come in last, but I never won an episode. And I was still like 200 points behind Gina and Kyle. So this is the first time I've won
Big
anything.
day. Good on you. Good. Rachel's a good pick. She had 29 points, I believe it was.
Damn.
Yeah, let's take a look. So yeah, Rachel at 29. Next
Yep.
closest person was Caroline with 18.
With 11.
With 18 less, I mean, than Rachel. But yeah, I mean that's what got me the win. I have 2 people left, and they were the 2 top point getters.
Yeah.
So
Good week for you.
I think
That's what
honestly,
for Kyle.
I gotta be totally honest. I don't even care if I win the draft. I'm just happy I won an episode. Like I'm good now. Like I'm okay. So
Yeah, that's fair. Just want to be on the board. Just want to be
Yeah,
on the
nice.
board.
And you know what? That win too brought you up to like within 5 points of Kyle for your season total, which is it's
Oh.
good. You're in
Yeah,
the game, or
I
within
pulled it
1
up.
point. Sorry.
look at how close these. I mean, think about how far apart we were last season,
Yeah.
and how close this is.
Gina-
It's just so nice to have a 1 in that column for me.
Right. Gina just passed me up on total points.
Yeah, Gina,
Next week.
397.5 points.
I'm telling you, I could pick a good team. I just never pick the winner.
Andy wasn't really a pick per
Yeah.
se.
Oh
I have
yeah.
to say,
I just
you know
saw
what?
that
I'm just
file we
going to
lost
be
today.
really honest here, by the way. I am not a fan of the picking up people after the fact. If they were unwanted and they're left on the bench, then they're there.
All
Okay,
right.
this is literally the equivalent. And granted, I'm only just 1 vote. Who am I to shut anything down? But it seems to me if you pick that person and they left, now you get a better shot at making it to the end of our draft than I did. I made a better selection in the beginning than you. Sorry. You
Right.
know, hashtag tough nookies.
No, you're right. You're right. I will say
I was
Yeah,
just
so-
trying to. The reason I even threw it out there was I was trying to even out the points at the top of the game because like when you start off at
Yeah,
like
no,
this-
this is not for defending. This is not as an attack to you because it made
No,
good
no,
sense.
I'm just saying that
I was
throwing
on
out
board
what-
then. I'm just saying my stance has changed.
Kyle's just mad because I might win the draft.
No, honestly, well, I mean, here's the thing though. If
The
you
tape-
win this, I'll be happy for you, but I'll always
It won't
discredit
really
it.
count.
No, I'll always discredit it. And honestly, if anything, now that I think this further, that's how I want you to get your first win. I want it to be one that will always be
It doesn't
contested.
really count.
You know, here's the thing.
I need
too.
Teeny to get it together. And win.
Yeah.
Oh, Speedy.
Here's the thing too. This is part of the reason why I didn't take Andy because I lost 2 right away,
Oh,
and at the
yeah.
time I definitely wanted nothing to do with Andy. And I joke now about not wanting to have anything to do with him, but I also feel like that would have felt very unfair to me if I lost 2 people and got to pick 2 more.
Kyle,
right
leave me alone.
up.
It's so hysterical. Like when you think the whole history of the podcast, if that's how Gina gets it right.
It would be.
I know.
It would be.
I know. Gina, I honestly don't understand how it's even possible that you haven't won a draft.
I
Like,
don't either,
understand
John. I
God,
don't
it's
either.
So funny.
Because
So
we've been doing
funny.
this
Every
podcast for-
internet version of these shows that we watch, like
it. Right.
so many drafts.
I've
and
been so hard.
How long
So
have we been doing
funny.
this podcast now? Is it 3.5
At least
years or
it's
Yeah,
something?
definitely, it's
21.
definitely been 3 years because our
3.5.
first thing was Big Brother
Yeah.
23, and we just finished 26.
Right.
So
And that would have been in the summertime. So like
21.
3.5, maybe
Yeah.
3.5 years, something like that, maybe.
Mhm.
And not once have you
Single
just
one.
not once have you just lucked
Not one singular draft.
into a win.
No.
It's honestly incredible.
It's more impressive than winning, honestly.
Yeah, it is.
we have to make a post about that.
We will.
Just
yeah,
in case you do
biggest
win this, is that
loser.
we have to-
Honestly, if I ended up winning this draft and it was Caroline that was the one that won it for me, I would always put an asterisk next to it. I would never have any issue with you guys having a yeah.
Yeah.
So,
No, I want it to be the
Alright.
opposite. I want Gina
Go
to be
bench
loud and
next time.
proud.
I
I
get it.
want to always
Jeez.
be able to challenge it.
Just hated my idea. Fuck.
No, I didn't
No,
hate
no,
it.
no,
No.
you did. You did though.
No.
You did.
Listen,
No,
I
I
really,
supported it first. I
yeah,
just,
I still
I mean,
support it,
how would
honestly.
you feel if, like, like, you're not going to be a little miffed if one of these people who were picked up after the fact, like, beats you? Like, if you were playing Survivor,
But if they're gonna win either way,
was
you know what I
eliminated
mean? It
2
just depends
votes,
on if
you
they're
come
on a
back
team or
in?
not.
Here's the thing. Here's why I still support Mikey's idea here. Okay, but I don't think if we do it again in the future, I think we should do it the way we did it this year, where okay, one of your players is out, you lose someone else, you can't pick again if it's your turn. You know what I mean? Like I think you should only be allowed to get one additional pickup if you lose someone early on. And the reason that I'm saying this, okay, and I understand why you would not agree still, Kyle, but I just feel like if you get hit super hard in the beginning like that, like Mikey did last time, losing everybody before merge, you had like there's the draft becomes less fun, right? Like we did it this year this way. I got to pick up someone, Gina got to pick up somebody, and this season now, the season totals, instead of having somebody like Mikey like get not even 100 points, we're at this point of the season and we are all within 50 points of each other. Like that's more exciting to me.
Yeah, I
Than
mean,
somebody
it's
just being
exciting.
down and out. Like if I would have been this year's Mikey if I didn't pick up Caroline. I would be like all I
You
would
would
have
still had
left is
Rachel.
Rachel. I would have had Rachel, but I probably would have had like 100 points, and you guys would have like 350. Like I don't even want to be in the draft anymore. Like,
Tough. Honestly, like I do get what you're saying. It is very fun to have the
makes it fun
conversation.
for
I just
us.
feel like it is slightly devalued by the fact that it's not really real. Like there was a draft, like you did the thing, and like so now it's almost like you're slightly penalized for having picked the better team. That's really where I'm going with that. And it's like, so I could really argue either side of this. I'm really just having some
Well,
fun with you
because
guys.
no,
It's
I
been
know,
a
I
long
know.
time. The 4 of us been
It works
together,
for
so
the
I'm really
point
just busting
system,
chops.
but it's
But
not necessarily works for like the winner pick. Like it's almost like
and
they're
maybe
like
those things should
Maybe
be
that's the thing
separate.
then.
Maybe you
Yeah.
get to maybe that's it.
Maybe that's how we do it. Yeah, you pick somebody up so that you can stay alive in the point system
Mhm.
that you've made, Mikey.
Mhm.
But if that person wins that you picked up, you don't get to call yourself the winner of like our draft. You just won
that's
the fan-
fair.
You just won the fantasy game that we
Right,
had.
because
See,
like in
okay,
fantasy,
all
like
right,
waiver exists, man.
all right. I
Yeah,
can get behind that. I can
I
get
like
behind
that.
that.
I like that idea.
Why don't you want you be waving no Andy in my face? I'm like, okay. That's all. That's
Is
all
there
I'm
not
saying.
still a
Yeah.
part of you though that still now wants to keep it so that it's like if Andy wins, like you can always
You
hold it over
burn me
Gina?
about it.
Right. I still say I want that to be Gina's first win. I want that to be what it is. I
Yeah.
Like
just
it would
enjoy
be.
that.
It would be.
Yeah, I just enjoy that as like Strat Chat lore.
Yes.
You know,
Right.
like I do enjoy that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just wait till we get into trades. You know, we're trading players across teams.
Oh my God, we've
God.
never
See,
done that
trades I support a little bit more.
Yeah, Kyle tried to
Because,
steal
like-
Cedric from me in BB26.
Well, because you would make a decision, like you agreed to it, and it's like I picked a kick-ass team, and we all get to jury, and then it doesn't matter because you picked up somebody after the fact. That's crap.
Right.
You didn't think anything of them then.
To be
I
fair,
believe
you
in
do
my
only
decision.
have one person left on your team, Kyle.
I know. No, I'm not to be out. I lost this year. It's okay.
Okay.
You
I thought you
still-
were saying that. I
No,
thought
you
you
still
said
may
I
not.
picked a kick-ass team.
You can still win. Sue could
No,
take
I
it. Who
didn't.
knows?
I didn't pick a kick-ass. No, Sue's not gonna win.
You never
Oh, no.
know.
I certainly hope she
she's not
doesn't.
gonna
You
win.
never
She's not gonna
know.
win. She didn't do anything. She didn't do anything. Like I like Sue. I'm not really ragging on her, but she's not going to win.
She still got
And
that
even if
idol
she gets
though.
to front- she has an idol.
And if she gets voted out with it in her pocket, she loses extra points.
Right. And if it saves her for one vote, it saves her for one vote. I mean, even if she gets to final 3, like I just don't think that unless something really, really big shifts, I don't think there's really any big moves that Sue can claim. Like we just did so much talking about what you do when you get to the end. What is Sue's argument? I followed Gabe. That didn't work out. And now I went a different way.
Yeah.
There's nothing that she can really claim. Again, there's a lot of game to play, so like we'll see. But as it looks now,
Yeah.
And a good idol play can sway a jury, but
Yeah, who knows? Maybe she'll come up with some.
if
but
she doesn't
one
play
idle
it
play
well or
wins
at
the whole
all.
game.
Yeah.
I just think that other people are writing much better stories.
Oh, absolutely.
So
If she, I think though that if Sue, if it happens to go the right way, everybody's saying one person's name. She uses her idol on that one person, and then she's got all the power to take out, a Rachel or an Andy or something like that. That could seismically change her game.
Mhm.
Right, but it depends when
But
she
she's
does
got
it,
to be
'cause
able
then
to
she's
put.
like-
Yeah, she's got
Yeah,
to.
yeah,
she's
she's
up-
got to
she's
be. She's
gotta
got
be
to do
number
that
one.
right. She's got to be privy to some of that information, and like I still say that's still only one bullet point on a resume.
Yeah, it's good. It's a long shot, but
Yeah, and
I'm not
compared to
saying that
what
like I actually think this could happen.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. I just feel like other people have so many more bullet points already that I feel like you're just playing catch up at this
Right.
point. So yeah,
Sure.
I
And
don't.
so I mean, like even that, like look what happened to Jesse. He made 2 game-winning idol plays and then got out at fire. You know,
Mhm.
so it's even if she does like play it well, it doesn't necessarily mean she's gonna make it to the end.
You're right,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Mhm.
But the trade thing is interesting too. Like it's always a risk. But like even me, right? I got 2 people left, right? In Caroline and Rachel.
I support trades wholeheartedly. I'll
Yeah.
never that I can't even imagine changing on.
Well,
2 people made a grown up
yeah.
decision. That's y'all's business.
Because so far before this episode, Rachel and Caroline, like they were working together a little bit and they seemed cool. And then in this one, like right away, we see Caroline is looking at Rachel being like, oh, she got an advantage and now I can use that to make her a bigger target. And it's like, my 2 people are going after each other. I might want to trade one of them.
That's been my whole season, man. Tiana, Gabe, Soul,
Yeah.
Sam.
Yeah.
They've been at each other's throats.
Gina, though, is actually in the best shape of all of us. She's
Yeah, how about that?
you got Teeny, you got Genevieve, and you picked up Andy, but you lost Kishan and Aisha. But yeah, you're
I
looking
guess at
strong
this
right
point,
now.
these are just our graphics, right? We're not changing them.
Well, so for some reason, I couldn't pull up the ones that you tried to send to me that time. So,
I could have fixed them.
yeah, if you want to fix them for next week, or if you want to try sending it to me again, I can do it. Sorry.
Sorry, I'm just in a sassy mood.
No, it's all right, Cole. Yeah,
I missed everyone, so I'm just firing shots left and right. That's just how I show love.
Kyle's been like,
Listen,
bang, 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 bang.
I deserve it. I deserve it. I'm slacking. I'm slacking.
No, I think everybody got nicked tonight. It's okay.
Yeah. I just briefly want to pull up our total season Castaway points because Rachel had such a good episode that she is now the number 1 point getter. And how weird is it that
Good for her.
all of Gata, they're our top 3
Mhm.
Wow.
in points this season, which is wild. Yeah.
Maybe that's our final 3. I can't.
Could you imagine?
It would really answer so many questions too about like how this show is edited. I can't wait to see how Mikey's point system kind of plays out here, because I could see that being the final 3. I really could.
That would be incredible. That would be
What I'll say
absolutely
is that
incredible,
top
honestly.
spot tends to be dangerous.
Yeah.
A lot of the time you get to that top spot and you don't last
And
very
then you're
long
out,
after.
right?
It's the top and the bottom spots that I think are the most like that's not
Yeah.
where you want to be.
It's like Kyle, right? He was at the top for a while of the season.
Yeah.
He's out. So I feel like
Gabe was up there.
Yeah, the more points you're getting, that's basically the more attention you're getting in the game, right? The more eyes that are on you. So it's not always
And
good
then-
to be.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see though how that shifts if that becomes less so because there's less people in the game. Like maybe now there's a little bit more reason to be showing you a little bit more because you are going a little further.
Sure.
Yeah,
It's just interesting to watch. It's
definitely.
not games with science yet, not yet, but we're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah.
And you heard it here first.
But yeah, I think that's all I got. Do you guys have any other thoughts, opinions, comments, anything for the betterment of the community?
One more thought left in my brain.
All right, yes, Mikey, you are sick. You probably want to get out of here. You're sick and tired, Mikey.
Always.
But I honestly though, this was a pretty great episode. I thought I enjoyed this one. Like I was actually into the episode until the tribal council. Like that almost was the most boring part to me, which How is that the most boring?
I will admit I do zone out 9 out of 10 tribal councils.
Yeah,
No, tribals suck. They're not
Yeah.
anything.
but the journey
The
I
only final
enjoyed.
thing I have.
yeah.
Oh,
Sorry,
sorry.
go ahead.
I had one final thing just to acknowledge other reality TV birthdays tomorrow. Happy birthday to Cinco, Melvin Cinco Holland, by way of Love Island and the Challenge USA. His birthday is tomorrow the 3rd. So happy birthday, Cinco.
Happy birthday, Cinco.
Happy Cinco.
All right. Well, I guess that's it. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching, for listening, for hanging out with us.
Mhm.
We do have another stream coming up this week, right? This Thursday, we'll be talking about the Challenge 40 Battle of the Eras. And actually, it's nice because there was no episode last week when we were off for Thanksgiving. So we only got
I didn't realize. I thought I had to catch up on 2.
Nope. We just got one episode to watch this Wednesday, and we'll be talking about it this Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And then, of course, we'll be back next Monday, right, for Survivor, hopefully. Maybe some of us. Availability is up in the air. Yeah.
Hopefully most of us. Yeah, hopefully.
But all right. I had a lot of fun with you guys. I feel like whenever we miss a stream, like because of a holiday or something, it always feels way longer that we're apart. And it always makes it a little more fun. I feel like there was a good energy here tonight. We were very good to see you guys.
Nice.
You made me feel better.
Oh.
So, love you guys. All right.
Yeah.
Find us on the social. Yes, happy Thanksgiving. All right, find us on the socials at Strat Chat Pod. Find us everywhere. We're gonna get the blue sky. I swear. All right. Goodbye.